Hi, everybody. It's Kendrick from Providence. It's been a while since I have reached out to you all because I had a lot of things going on. I'm sure you all do as well because it is retrograde season. Mercury is in the middle of being retrograde. Venus has just come out of retrograde. There are all of these planets retrograde in Capricorn where this full buck moon lunar eclipse is happening. And, Capricorn rules government and economy and laws, right? Sort of like legislation, all of those things, economy. But then it also talks about the building of things and concepts that lead to a full fledged like manifestation, whereas it is, it could be a building, it could be a bridge, it could be anything that is monumental, that is going to be beneficial to everyone, right? And we're kind of like opening ourselves up to what the people who are in power can actually provide to the people who are not. Anyway, I'm going to continue by shuffling these cards. I'm using the Morgan Greer, which a lot of readers use on YouTube. If you are new to the Providence Tarot page channel, I would like for you guys to hit the subscribe button if you don't mind. Also, like the video, and you can also follow me on Instagram. The page is Providence Tarot, and my personal account is NYC Kendrick. Hi, Lady Libra. How are you? Oh my gosh, things have been so crazy, right? I mean, they've been crazy, but like lately, things have kind of like come full circle, some things like that. The eclipse is kind of bringing some things to light, maybe closing out some stories. Maybe we can reasonably conclude some things that have been confusing prior to this moment that we are in right now. Jupiter has come into Capricorn after Saturn and Pluto were already there. Pluto has been in Capricorn, I believe, since like 2008 or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was when Barack Obama became president. And we're talking about, things that change for us all that sort of bring us into like a higher level of consciousness. So the King of Cups is here, and this is power, right? And this is mastering power. So some of you could be mastering your power through this eclipse, right? And this retrograde season. It does have to do with healing. So there is some major healing that's going on, some things that deal with emotional issues, or it just has to deal with some intimate relationships that some of us might be trying to master ourselves in. We could be trying to just reflect on our energy and how our energy affects other people, or how we might be affected by other people's energy. Speaking of that, is a card that squares the King of Cups, who is actually Scorpio, right? Which is the Five of Swords. And this has the energy of the Hierophant, which is Taurus, but then it also has the energy of the fifth house, which is Leo. And we're also dealing with Aquarius here. This is Venus in Aquarius, and this is the beauty of friendship, right? So there could be like some challenges or some difficulties within the beauty of friendship, right? We're having some challenging ideas. We're having to sort of conceptualize something new. There's a change of perspective that has occurred, but it's also very challenging in a way because maybe we haven't been faced with something like this before, or this could just be someone challenging our beliefs or challenging what we can do. Okay, you're thinking about what you have, and you're also thinking about how what you have, how what you have compares to what other people may have. And this might even have to do with some intelligence, knowledge, or something like that. You might be conflicted with the knowledge of something. You might just be trying to establish yourself in some kind of way, and you are dealing with some psychological things that are happening. This could even be a verbal confrontation with some people. You know what I mean? The King of Cups being here. This is just like in the reading. But the Five of Swords does have to do with someone just not being open minded enough to. To kind of like align themselves with what someone else might be trying to prove to them. It's kind of like someone doesn't believe someone, or someone is in disbelief of someone. It could even have to do with like behavior, or it could be with the way that someone thinks. Someone might be a little bit stubborn in their mindset, right? Or it could just be like fixed in the mind, stubborn in the mind, and someone wants to connect on an emotional level, but it's kind of like not happening because someone is just really in their mind, and that's where they find their power, is in them being able to think logically and being able to intellectualize. So some of you could be dealing with Scorpio energy, Libra energy. It could be Taurus, Aquarius, or Leo. So there's a lot of fixed. All of the fixed signs are here. Um, and then like one cardinal sign, which is Libra. But then again, Venus rules Libra. So Venus is in like a higher point in that Aquarius energy where it tries to find beauty in something different. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are trying to get other people to see and believe, that there is a transformative energy that sort of like takes hold and starts to change the shape of something when you actually believe in something that is different than what you have been taught, what you have been shown, or what you have aligned yourself with, thus far. It's like what you have established in your mind is really what you have established in your own mind. Other people have different ways of thinking. So it's kind of like trying to bring things together because Venus wants to bring things together. So it's kind of like we need to appreciate our differences because it's our differences and the diversity. I know some people don't like that word. That sort of makes the whole. It establishes, something for us all to see and for us all to appreciate. There is a level of respect here that is really being focused on with a lot of people at this time. Some people might be demanding respect in some kind of way, or some people might be demanding attention because of a deep need, a deep emotional need to express their mind, perhaps. And also, there's some fears going on here as well. It's the fear of the unknown. So I feel like a lot of people are dealing with that. The King of Cups has to do with mastering toxicity and being able to filter that. The King of Cups is transformation, it's fear, it's also sex. It could even do with shared resources because Scorpio, the eighth house, rules shared resources, and Taurus is talking about money and fixed income. So some of you are having to think of different ways of spending money, different ways of saving money, and you might just be trying to find where you can be in control of your money and not have your money be in control of you, that type of thing. This is a collective reading, so this is for everybody. I'm going to go ahead and cut these cards and lay them out. Yeah, money is definitely something, that unemployment is going to be going out at the end of July for a lot of people. So I think, strategy is something that we all should be thinking of, and hopefully you've been saving money. Some of you are thinking of different ways to kind of like bring in money and keep that earned income coming in. It also has to do with conflict with shared money and maybe the way that people are like spending money. The tower is here, so it's talking about change, and it's talking about old structures crumbling, or old structures, old systems that aren't going to work anymore. The sevens are related to the seventh house of Libra, so it's talking about how you're relating to this experience of not trying to fit a square through a hole. You know what I mean? We're not, this is like if something doesn't happen, then, it's going to happen for you. The tower is also like shakeups and things that occur that kind of like take us off of our, off of our, feet, kind of. It's like having the rug pulled from underneath you. But this could also be the destruction of relationships as well. You know what I mean? Because the King of Cups is intimate relationships. The Five of Swords is friendships, and then the Tower here has to do with the seventh house relationships, because this could just have to do with relationships changing in a major way. There could be conflicts within the family, right? And there could be conflicts dealing with like you know, just things that are uncomfortable to talk about because they trigger deep feelings of like resentment or not being able to control certain situations, uh, having to submit to things that you may not want to, but you have to. That's also what like this tower card talks about. It is related to the chariot, which is Cancer, and this is Cancer season, and this is very much eclipse energy. The eclipse, it is something is covered, and then once it moves on, something is sort of like unveiled, right? But we do have cards here that we're going to flip over. Um, Completion. The tower is kind of like bringing something to an end that needed to be brought to an end. I know what my tower is talking about. This could be like the home for some of you. This could be relationships for some of you. And this could also be like, feeling just that energy, the virility of wanting to move forward or wanting to push something through or change something like once and for all. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Here we go. So let's look at the first card in the center of the reading. It got a little bit better. It got kind of like really better, right? The tower at the bottom of the deck, but then we get the Nine of Cups in the center. And the Nine of Cups is talking about wishes fulfilled. The nines are things being uncovered, right? It's almost like the epiphany of something. Like we're having these feelings. People are suddenly realizing where compassion takes you. It's like love is a vehicle that leads us towards, compassion, success, right? It's like the goal is to be able to get somewhere with all of these feelings and all of these emotions, right? The Nine of Cups is like, making a wish, right? It's like the genie in the bottle, Christina Aguilera, it's a nine, so it is related to Virgo and the Hermit. And with the Hermit, it's like we've grown wiser. Sagittarius is the ninth house, and that's talking about wisdom and knowledge to take something further. Pisces is the last sign. It is the esoterically is ruled by Pluto, which is talking about transformation. Pluto, in the exoteric sense, is ruled by Scorpio. Here we have it here. Scorpio is ruled by Mars. Tower is Mars. We're talking about aggressions. We're talking about passions that lead us somewhere. There's emotional aggression here, definitely. There's some resentment, but there's also a great truth that we have to pay attention to, and we have to really like allow it to make us feel the way that we feel because that's us actually seeing for ourselves. You know what I mean? Anyway, um, it's kind of like if we're going to lead with emotion, we're leading with the right emotions. And emotions aren't wrong or right. It's just kind of like really exposing the truth because Sagittarius in the ninth house is very much about the truth. We're dealing with Neptune here, some confusion, right? And also some hidden things. What's behind the veil, Also, Pisces is Venus is exalted there, so it could be like that, what we've been being shown is what we've kind of like grown accustomed to with this Five of Swords being here, and there's conflict there because it's like I thought it was something else this entire time, but it actually isn't. But what I'm seeing is that I'm uncovering something that is, that is valuable here. It's quantity and quality, so it's almost kind of like you're getting a lot out of realizing this, having this emotional realization. And this is almost kind of like this could be like a financial windfall for some of you, or this could be like things definitely improving in some kind of way, right? Yeah. Let's see what the card is that's covering. All right, this is really good because this is like Jupiter, right? And I just said improvements. I just said luck, right? So some of you are feeling better about something, right? A lot of us are. But some of you are also feeling highly sensitive too because it is Cancer season, right? Um, and I'm gonna say that this Tower card, Mars is an Aries, so it's saying like now something has moved forward. Now you're not feeling stuck, right? You had to work to get somewhere, and it took a little bit of time and energy and effort, right? And you had to push past some of the things that you feared or some of the things that you were like unsure about, but like it had to happen, whatever those things were for most of you, and there you go. Right? So now we got the Nine of Cups here. Oh my gosh, it's almost like a feeling of relief and wanted to take something. It's eyes wide open, 2020, seeing things as they really are. It really is. Yeah. We are sort of like being like reawakened in some kind of way. In Pisces, that energy is like going into coming out of one reality and going into the next, right? It's also healing, and it's also kind of like it could be illusion, but then like the nine is talking about the truth that is discovered behind the illusion, and then it kind of like helps you see where like it can go. We're reflecting on a feeling, and we're realizing that you have to lead by example. Okay, so it's almost like, let me show you the way. So it's like we can show each other the way together. Anyway, the Six of Wands is crossing the Nine of Cups. Sixes and nines. They're almost like cards of beauty and truth, right? And foundation. Beauty and foundation. Okay? So if the nines are foundation, and this is like wishing that we had a change of foundation, right? In a literary sense, or, just kind of like, anyway. And then the sixes are beauty, right? And this is Jupiter in Leo. It's expansions of the heart, expansions of the self, expansions of leadership, too. We're looking for leadership. We're wishing we had better leadership, right? On a collective level. But also, we know that we have to pay attention to a lot of different things if we want to go in the direction that we kind of like are hoping that we can make it to, right? With this nine being here and with this seven being here, that's changing things for us, right? Government. um hmm, Definitely. Okay, so with Jupiter and Leo, this is a card of like happiness, right? It's like the beauty of happiness, the beauty of vitality. Okay, so there are some things that we want to see reciprocated. It's almost like we're seeing the change happen. Okay, we're seeing changes occur in areas that we like probably have been looking for them to change, because the Six of Wands is a card of like applause, right? We're applauding something moving forward, and it's something that's going to be of service to everyone because the sixes are cards of service. Okay, with Virgo ruling the sixth house. Um, and Virgo is talking about health, and Pisces is talking about healing. So we might be seeing some advancements, right? With um, with either the COVID-19 situation, or we could be seeing some advancements with how treatments are happening, or something like that. Because Pisces is healing, Scorpio is healing, and Aquarius is like something that happens for everyone on a larger level. And then this Six of Wands, the sixth house is Virgo, talking about health, and Leo is talking about vitality, health and vitality, expansion of health and vitality. So maybe something is going to become more available to more people in some kind of sense. Right, but we are talking about the availability of relief in some kind of way. Anyway, let me look at the past. Right. Yes, definitely relief, right? Ace of Cups, right? Bam. It's bringing the potency to something. It's bringing the intensity to something. It's bringing the awareness, and it's bringing, access to something, right? And this is emotionally fulfilling, or we are just aware of something that occurs that triggers us emotionally, or something that makes us feel some kind of way. This is in the recent past, but this is definitely an opportunity to take it somewhere further. The past is the Ace of Cups, and the present is the Nine of Cups. So it's kind of like, wow, something went really quickly in the direction that you kind of hoped it would go in, whatever that is for all of you individually out there. And on a collective level, we're starting to see some movement happen so far. Okay, but there was some conflicts that were occurring here, and it had to do with power, and it probably had to do with a little bit of lies or misguidance, something like that. Let's look at the sun position. Wow, yeah. So this is kind of like a sense of completion here with the Ten of Pentacles. So some, we are all experiencing some level of completion. This has to do with money and finance or investments, something like that. Okay, so there could be like a swelling of something that happens with finances. Okay, Virgo does rule commerce along with Gemini, just because Mercury rules commerce. Virgo was talking about a critical analysis of something or documents. So there could be something happening with on the collective level for like the country and everybody who's watching this reading. Something could be happening in terms of like economy, or something could be happening with like leadership in terms of like money. But so for some of you, you are completing a process, right? On an individual level, we're completing processes that were started. Okay. And I see in the past we have the Ace of Cups, and I see right now it's the Nine of Cups, but then in the Sun position, which is very much bam, right now, that's the Ten of Pentacles. So there's some karmic phases that are closing out. Okay, some conclusions to some stories that are happening with this Ten of Pentacles being here. And the 10th house is Capricorn, and the eclipse is happening in the 10th house of Capricorn right now. Okay, and Mercury is retrograde. This is Mercury in Virgo, right? And it's talking about perfect communication or a perfect analysis of something or the critical analysis of something. We are adjusting. There's an adaptation, or you're adapting to a change, but you're being very considerate of all of the different factors, right? All of the different variables. Okay. Um, yeah, so, and this could also just kind of like having many different realities going on at the same time for a lot of us. So it talks about like the overexhaustion of having a lot of different things to compartmentalize, right? And it takes a lot of effort to deal with each of these things individually, and even as a whole, they could be overwhelming in some kind of way. But it's almost like we're trying to take the emotion out of it because it's Earth and it's the sun in Earth, right? And it's a 10, so it's related to fire and it's related to earth, right? Sun and earth. But then it's the awareness of what's being built, right? What we have built and what we're going to now continue to start to build on top of that, right? And it does have to do with something globally, like, and also economy wise. And on an individual level, you guys, we are just dealing with things that are closing out for us that are going to benefit us because the tens are related to Jupiter. It's a benefic planet. But then Mercury is also just one of ambiguity. Okay, so it's saying like when some of these things happen, it could be good, but for some of you, it's not good or bad. It's just something that needed to happen, right? And it's as a result of like just making good on something. Let's look at the moon position. Okay, so yeah, in the moon position we have Jupiter again in Gemini. And just mind you all that Jupiter is in Capricorn right now, which is where this eclipse is happening. This is the Eight of Swords, and that is talking about interference that might be happening. So you guys, the voices in our heads and the power of our mind might be just getting the best of us, right? It's telling you to have courage and to have strength and stay motivated, right? Even with all of the things that are going on around you that are trying to distract you, okay? And that's what this is talking about. This is like what I don't know, right? I'm worried about what I don't know. I'm fearing what I don't know. And it's kind of like, you need to not fear those things so much because there's always something that you can do about it that's going to bring you back into your power, that's going to kind of like recalibrate your mind and bring a little bit of encouragement to you. Somebody might even be encouraging you and you may not be taking it in. You know what I mean? This is an eight, so it's related to Scorpio, and this card is in the moon position. So it almost has like a fallen type of energy, right? But then it's also related to the strength card. So it's saying, worrying about something or trying to force, something with your mind isn't necessarily gonna work. It's just gonna exhaust you mentally. You know what I mean? So try not to exhaust yourselves mentally. Hi, Tanisha. Word. I remember you. Right? Try not to exhaust yourself mentally. and try not to, start fights with others because of your anxiety, right? Actually, we are doing a collective reading. Um, and, this is just saying, break free of the thoughts that are holding you back or taking you out of your power or bringing you into a place of psychological discomfort, right? Just worrying about how your intimate relationships might be, or your intimate relationships with people and what they might be thinking of you at this time. And this is also like not being able to control other people's thoughts or what they're saying or their opinions, right? And this is also saying don't believe everything you hear and don't take everything you imagine for truth, right? That type of stuff. Because the eights are talking about illusion, secrets, and hidden things. Okay. So and also this lunar eclipse, right? It's the moon. So there's some things that are going to be felt, but there are also going to be some things that happen after this that sort of like clear out this energy of being confused or not knowing what's really going on. Let's look at the anxieties. The Ace of Swords. I love it. So, the Ace of Swords is, the anxiety's position is definitely connected to the moon position. And so we're dealing with anxiety in the moon position, but we're also dealing with the truth and we're dealing with the anxiety that the truth brings uh in this position down here. But it's also hopes and wishes, and the Ace of Swords is kind of like new beliefs, right? So that's great. And it's also like new concepts, okay? And it's being very eccentric with it sometimes, right? It's like, what do I believe? What do I know? And it also is kind of like detaching from old beliefs, right? Old concepts, old thought processes, right? This is like a new way of thinking. It's also a breath of fresh air as well, because the anxiety position is also hopes and dreams, right? And wishes. It's almost like a very Aquarian placement because it is anxiety and the Aquarian is like the fixed thought. But this is good. This is like freedom, right? Because this is directly related to the magician, which is Mercury. So there's a movement here. There's freedom to move, right? And some of you might just be feeling better in your head and your mind. You may have created some kind of space in some kind of way. Because the swords do talk about cutting, right? And you just feel like there's more space in your head to kind of like, you know, uh, process your thoughts and get on the right page with yourself mentally. That's what we're dealing with. In the Mars position, you have the King of Rods, which is Leo, right? We all do. So this is talking about leadership, right? And this is kind of like you actually being called to be your own leader, right? Um, and this is coming from a place of emotion because the King of Rods is one third of Cancer, okay? So we might be dealing with being encouraged. Some of you are being encouraged by like your emotions, right? How your emotions have driven you to this point of wanting to take action or wanting to establish something for yourself that makes you feel like you can be in celebration of yourself and you can kind of like just see yourself really facing maybe a problem or facing the situation head on. What you have been dealing with emotionally, you're now facing it head on, and it's bringing you some clarity, which is really good. Emotional clarity, and it's also motivating you and getting you closer to what it is that you want that's going to be, providing you with something, right? Because it's like we're looking for something that's going to provide us with a sense of emotional security and happiness, right? So we'll feel even the freedom of movement too. We have the freedom of thinking. We're wishing for that, right? Mobility in the mind. And then we also want the freedom to move around ourselves, right? And to think for ourselves because all of the kings are air, right? So we've got air and we've got fire, but then we've also got the water in the back. So it's almost kind of like with that Cancer energy being one third of him, of us, of this person in the Mars position. And Mars is in Aries right now, a fire sign. Okay. So now we feel more motivated with Mars being in Aries. Okay. Um, and it's that forward thinking. It's that sense of growth and expansion and opportunity that we create for ourselves, and really believing for ourselves that we can do those things and we can we can access these new ways of thinking and new concepts for ourselves, and we can change our perspective and our level of optimism and hope for something different for ourselves. Okay, anyway, in the Venus position here. Nice. Right after the King of Rods, we have the Eight of Pentacles, and the Eight of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles are really great Pentacles cards to have. So far in this reading, that Tower card is talking about a change for the better. So that Tower card came up. Yeah, it did. That is what happened. I feel like I already had mine, but I'm sure there will be more in my life. Um, but this eight is talking about power. You have two eights here. And then this eight is also talking about, you know, uh, perfect execution or thoughtful execution. Okay, and when we're thinking of the eights are also mental and they're intellectual as well, just like the kings are. So we're mastering something, and with this eight of swords being here, we're mastering our thoughts, right, and how they affect us emotionally, and how we might be confusing ourselves sometimes with how we lead ourselves down the wrong thought path, right? And anyway, but that's air. So this is kind of like leading ourselves in a real way, right? We're really taking a great leadership position. Also, some of you could be taking leadership positions in your relationships, and some of you could be mending some relationships, or you could be salvaging some things, or you could just be, repairing some things too, because the eights do talk about healing being related to the eighth house of Scorpio, and then Virgo is talking about changing things. It could be changing the placement, compartmentalizing, or changing the shape of something. There's a very like galvanizing feeling here with this eight of Pentacles. And this is just saying like something will be, when something is ready for you to handle, you will be ready to handle it. This is saying you're ready to handle something, right? Financially, okay, because Venus does talk about money, and things that bring you pleasure usually cost something, okay? Um, and this might even bring improvements to your intimate relationships, that type of thing. Some of you could be going back to work. You might just be feeling better about that, and that's going to improve the dynamic in your relationships, right? Or some of you could just be experiencing like a great sense of encouragement uh, as you continue to work hard. And so it's making you feel empowered, and you really are pushing through whatever it is that you are working on because you want to make a good quality of something. It is quality leads to quantity, and that's kind of like what we are looking at, and that should bring you into the position that you want to be. And when you focus on quality, then quantity is definitely going to come. Okay, so let's look at what's going on in your future card placement. Bam. We said when you focus on quality with this Eight of Pentacles here, and this is equivalent of the Eight of Diamonds, which is in the Sun position of the playing cards. If you lay out all those playing cards, I forget the name of that book. I gotta figure it out, and I'll post it here on YouTube, okay? So you can see the graphing, right? The layout of all of the playing cards and where they sit on that diagram. And the Eight of Diamonds or the Eight of Pentacles is my birthday is in there. And I know someone else's whose birthday is in there too in that list. But all of you have a card out there in the deck. Anyway, this is talking about being empowered in your work, okay? And having a lot of things to do, taking responsibility for bringing quality back to your work. And after that, in the energy moving forward, we have establishing a great foundation financially that's going to bring you some emotional security, but also bring you some financial security. This is taking, a masterful approach to the way that you deal with all of the things in your life that matter. And this is Sun in Capricorn. Okay. And we are talking about the moon, which rules the fourth house of Cancer, which is where the sun is right now. Okay. That is creating this eclipse in Capricorn. Okay. Anyway, and I think that's like where the Earth would be too. If you looked at that, I think that the Earth is always like opposite where the sun is astrologically. So like the sun is in Cancer right now, and the Earth is like in Capricorn, and so is the moon. Anyway, so we're dealing with that. Uh, Foundations that you can rely on, and this is how you are asserting yourself to bring more financial abundance through security. Some of you could be saving something, saving money, or some of you could be thinking about restoring something. This could be restoring something in your home, or this could be bringing some sort of like you want something of value, right? I feel like that's what this also is, wanting something of value. So some of you might even be wanting to purchase a home or something like that, or just move, change homes, that type of thing. But this is a really good card because it's talking about mastering money and mastering finances, and you can do that by also you know, practicing some kind of restraint because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is the karmic teacher, and it's the disciplinarian. So you have to discipline yourselves more financially with the way that you save and you spend money. Okay, right? So you might have to cut yourself off from some of the things that you once afforded yourself, or you just won't do it very lavishly. It's kind of like thinking practically. So you can have the things that you have always had, but you have to have less of it because Capricorn and Sun in Capricorn, that motto is I consume. So you have to think about how much you're consuming. You also have to think about what you might be wasting. You have a fear of dealing with the finances, some of you, or some of you could have a fear of dealing with like some bills or something like that, or some sort of financial responsibility that you have might be seemingly overwhelming, or you might think that you won't be able to see yourself on the other side of this situation because it's so overwhelming, or something like that. Or there's like just the intimidation factor of it. But you can do it. It's saying you can do it. It's just making you feel like, wow, this is like, I really have to do it. Yeah, you really have to do it. And it could just be like the emotion behind it. How you, you know, the emotional impact that it might have on you, or the financial impact that something might have on you, like doing it, taking that responsibility, right? So it's kind of like you're dealing with that, and you're dealing with like, if I did buy a house, or if I did go in that direction, like what would that responsibility be, or a car, or anything like that, or become a parent. Knight of Pentacles, yes. With this Four of Pentacles, this is really good, y'all. I hope the last card is good. So the Knight of Pentacles is Virgo, and it's talking about processing things, and it's also saying like someone coming in and helping you and being of service to you to help you kind of like with a situation. Okay, you're looking at data, you're looking at information, and you're looking at money. You're looking at, some of you are really trying to like get somebody to help you deal with your spending, or you're dealing with your spending, or it's like you might be trying to open a savings account or something like that, or putting money somewhere so that they can just be there for you to access it. But you're planting seeds here so that you can see some things evolve and develop, right? So then one day you will just see it become more of a situation that you see yourself benefiting from, whereas that you're not always trying to fix the situation. It's almost like you're benefiting from something and you're not always trying to fix it, right? And the Knight of Pentacles comes in and helps you fix that situation, where this could be like refinancing a loan, or refinancing something, a mortgage, or it could be just kind of like changing the way that you were approaching doing something with money, or with whatever it was of material value that you were trying to establish or grow. Okay. But this is, yeah, it's saying that you can take on the responsibility, right? Bam, bam, right? And in the sun position, ham. Okay. Whatever it is that you're trying to do for yourself. And then you had two Jupiter cards come up here. This is pretty good. It's going to get better. So let's look at the last card. Yes. Okay. So this is good right now. I mean, it's temperance, and temperance is just saying that this is a period of things shifting and changing. the way that we see ourselves, the way that we see, the world for ourselves is changing in just the path in our life. We have experienced some things and we have, honored those situations and those learning experiences, and they have uh, just established themselves in our lives what they were meant to teach us. You know what I mean? So we learn from some of the experiences that we've had, and it's time to move on so that we can have other experiences so that we can learn from those. It's kind of like it's time to establish ourselves in a new way, and it's time to adapt to the changes that have actually affected us. You know what I mean? Because when changes happen around you, you yourself are changed. And this is saying that you are changed in some kind of way forever, right? Because the temperance is 14, and it is also the awareness of what has been established now. What is my new foundation? I've come full circle to the realization that I will experience conflict unless I give respect to this area in my life that needs change. You know what I mean? So we're dealing with that as well. But it's a five, and it's related to this five that fell out at the very beginning of the reading, the Five of Swords. Okay, and the Hierophant rules the fives. So this is just saying, my belief systems are changing. Where what matters to me most has changed. And it could have to do with family. It could have to do with your goals changing in life, right? Because Temperance is Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is very much talking about the goals. And it could have just been like you were used to a way that you were uh, uh, um, carrying out your goals, right? And experiencing those successes that you experienced. Now it's time to experience other successes, right? Shoot new arrows, try to hit new marks, that type of thing. Yeah, so the way you see yourself is changing on the inside, and the way that others see you is also changing, right? But it's good. We have to sort of like reestablish ourselves. Okay? So there's an alchemical process that's going on spiritually for a lot of us. And we are just like, it's like Vulcan, right? It's like galvanizing a new um, sense of self, you know? You're becoming, figuring out your passions now. Where do my passions lie now, right? Have they changed? That type of thing. Ooh, child, I need to hurry up. Out of here. But yes, that's what we're thinking about. Have my passions changed? What's different? What's new? And what will never be the same now, right? What have I learned on this experience? You know, okay, moon cycles and breathe. So notice how the moon affects your energy and manifestations, and capitalize upon these cycles. So pay attention to the moon cycles. If you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure that you do. And this card says breathe. Take several deep breaths and exhale slowly to awaken your energy and to release old patterns. So when you feel like you're feeling anxiety, definitely breathe. I did it before I did this reading, and I looked into a white candle, right? And it definitely helped me. It calmed me down a little bit more. And work with some grounding stones too, because Capricorn is an earth sign. And look up the ibex or ibex. It's Ibex, I believe. The ibis is a bird that's in the star card, and an ibex is like a mountain goat. They literally climb walls like dams, right? It's really crazy, and you will understand what Saturn and what Capricorn sort of mean, and Aquarius. It's like the fear of heights too, because when you get up there to where you've been looking and where you've been wanting to go, it's kind of like intimidating. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm up here. So don't fear success, okay? Clairsentience. Notice your recurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance. These are a lot of oracle cards that fell out, y'all. Okay, Virgo is definitely talking about a healthier lifestyle. So some of you could be experiencing a healthier lifestyle with one, two, three Virgo cards, and then a sun in um, Capricorn, Four of Pentacles. Eat a healthful diet, get adequate sleep, very important, and exercise regularly for optimal health. That's for some of you out there. This is collective, so I guess that's why all of these fell out. So whichever one is resonates with you, that's yours. Don't try to like make some of these fit that don't naturally feel like they fit. Because I know some of these are like, for me, um, I can relate to them all, but some of them are sticking out more because I always pay attention to the moon cycles, you know. Leadership, and this one is good for me too. And it's kind of like the color I'm wearing. It is time for you to assume your leadership, power, and position, right? And lovingly guide others, right? 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 And these are power too because Mercury esoterically rules Aries, and Mercury the magician is the aces. But also Aries, Pluto is a higher octane of Mars, and I also give that to Aries, right? The Emperor is a 4, and so is the Death card. It's a 13. Okay, so yeah, it's time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others. All right, I think that's it for this collective reading. Thanks, everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment as well. Follow me on Instagram. It's Providence Tarot. My personal account is NYC Kendrick. If you would like to get a reading with me, email providencetarot.kendrick@gmail.com. You're welcome, Connie. I will be reading today at Shanti Bookshop and Crystal Gallery at 230 East 14th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues, closer to 3rd Avenue. And you can come there, buy some crystals, talk to some people, maybe get some insight onto some information that you may have wanted. A lot of people do. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.